Welcome back. It is Sports Central. And my name is Vlad. Okay, Marizon is still with me for company, but I have a guest in the house for company still. Let's get to the talking points. And one of those, I'll get to introduce my guest, but one of those talking points today would be in the world of tennis. Yannick Sinner, the home favorite at the ATP finals, got the better of Holgerun and qualified for the next level of the competition, the semi-finals of the competition, topping the green group, qualifying alongside Novak Djokovic, the world number one. A big game will be taking place today. Will be Carlos Alcaraz against Danny Medvedev. And in the world of boxing, we hear that Tyson Fury would be facing Alexander Usyk on a title bout set for February 17 at Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We've been looking forward to that fight. But on the other hand, the world of basketball, with a stick to that conversation, will be the Clippers. Paul George being fined $35,000 for criticizing officials. And they say the reason the fine is that high is because he has a habit of doing that. For 6 years' time, he's been fined $145,000. And the bulk of his money has been going to fines. That's the conversation. In the NBA games, we saw Oklahoma City Thunder pulled 128-109 victory over the Golden State Warriors. And also, Jimmy Butler scored 36 massive points, and Robinson added 26 points as a Heat got the better of the Brooklyn Nets 122-115 to win the 7th straight title. Well, my guest in the house, Mari, good to have you back on the show. And Mr. Ekerebong Itungwa, welcome to the show. He's Akwa Ibom State basketball coach, and we'll be having conversation about the development of sports in Akwa Ibom. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How has it been? Let's begin a conversation like that. How has it been about sports development and development in basketball in the country?
Okay, let me start
I
with...
like the side. I really love the side.
It's been tough.
Okay.
Yeah, let me say that. It's been next to zero.
Okay.
Let me say, if I really think if you want to develop, if you want to do something out of yourself, you understand, not within you, you need, one of the best things you want is funding. Funding, and it's been next to zero. You understand? We have labored, we have gone years without good funding.
Okay.
So we end up, you need money for so many things. You understand? I believe if you want to progress, you have to equipment, facilities. You understand? And that has been lacking a whole lot in sports other than football.
All right, now let's talk about something. You know, you've talked about funding, and I know that the Akwa Ibom State Basketball, Forum should have some connection with the NBBF at the national level. But I want to also know, how close is the Akwa Ibom State Basketball Forum to the NBBF? We know the NBBF is also crisis laden, right? But how close is the Akwa Ibom State Basketball Forum to the NBBF?
I think everything starts with here first.
Yeah.
You have to make your best good first before
Thinking of the top.
thinking of going to the top.
Yeah.
The NBBF president is the chairman of the River State basketball association.
Yeah.
So he has his own side to, you understand, model and look after. We basically don't really have an attachment to them unless we go for festivals and stuff. You understand? There's no particular connection. Let's say before he was the president, he did South programs. He did, yes.
Yeah, I have attended, I think, once or twice.
Yes, he did that, but after he went to the presidency, all this stopped. So nothing.
We understand how challenging it is when it has to do with sports development, especially at the foundation stage. But it gets even better when you are quite high up there. We'll talk about even in football.
Yeah.
Lots of coaches around the state. And I always talk about it from a football point of view, that the real coaches are not those benefiting from football. Those who are nurturing the talent even in football. And I'm looking at basketball. We've talked about the Basketball Federation in Nigeria. Let's look at the AFA in Akwa Ibom, because you've talked about the struggles in Akwa Ibom regarding basketball development. Are there no programs to help these young lads and the coaches? And are there other coaches who are going through these difficult times?
Okay, so let me start with my chairman. I have a chairman who is incidentally not from Akwa Ibom State, but he's been one of the best I've had in years. You understand? Pharmacist Gospel said that he's been wonderful. He's been helpful, but he can't do all this alone. So right now, fortunately for us, you understand, that's the t-shirt I'm wearing. Oh, cool. Okay, so there's this. He's a man who understands that human potential is vast in basketball. He played basketball at club level, national level. Dr. Oboludo.
Okay.
He's based in Abuja.
So that's basically how the state gets to have much of funding. But
That's-
it doesn't
that's-
make it doesn't make sense to me because while we're talking about funding for developmental processes for the country, we understand we've always talked about a private sector coming in.
Yeah.
And it's been that concern.
Yeah, however, Blighted, while we're talking about private sector coming in, I also think that there should be, space for basketball at the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development in Akwa Ibom State. That's the conversation. I don't think that the ministry is only supposed to fund football, the Akwa Uniteds and the Dakadas and all of that. So, how has the basketball forum in Akwa Ibom State, enjoyed or felt, the hands of the Ministry of Youth and Sports in
We
the
have
state?
been basically left out of. Trust me, we have barely felt the weight of government
In the state.
in the state. Barely, you understand? Barely, we have been given a court in West Time to train, and after that, what?
Well, many would say that was a good development there. Looking
Fine,
at that
fine,
court,
fine.
because
Give
it's
us a
fully
court,
promoted
but
the
after
standings
that-
of it.
After
Yeah.
that, what next? What next? Basically nothing.
Yeah, because I look at there's this basketball competition going down right now.
Yeah.
River State have got a working basketball club, Kano Pillars. In Kano State, you go to Kwara State and all of that. And sometimes I want to ask, how about Akwa Ibom State? Why don't we have a working basketball club that could compete with the Rivers Hoopers, the Kano Pillars, and the rest of them?
Some years back, let's say that was about 2015 or so, we had a team in Akwa Ibom, but that team was privately funded. And how much can a private individual, you understand, how far can such go? You understand? So again, government has to help a whole lot. You understand? That's the way sports is run in Nigeria. It's government. You understand? Football is government. You understand? So every other sport should have help from government. That's what I think.
While we're talking about governmental opportunities that needs the support from government, let's also look at a pool of the talents, because there's also going to be the superstar that gets to come out, and when that superstar comes out, it changes the definitive aspect of this game.
Absolutely.
What has been the progress? You've been around the scene over time. What has been the progress? Have there been superstars that's come out of Akwa Ibom, participated in national basketball, and then moving forward global basketball?
Okay, so that's where I do need to go. I need some length of time. Okay, so there's this man, Dr. Bonudo, who is right now running monthly competitions in Akwa Ibom. Okay, he is ready to make sure talents, because he knows we have pool of good players. He is from here. Akwa Ibom is a hard-working state. People are hard-working, ready to show their talents in whatever endeavor they're allowed to.
Yeah.
So right now there's this monthly competition that goes, and we're going to have it next week. Next week, Thursday, Friday. It's monthly, end of the month. So this is an opportunity for people to express themselves. In terms of having players abroad, Mfonudo is a former national player, played in the WNBA.
Yeah.
She actually came to town some years back and met with some high-ups. The response was not good at all.
From the high-ups, from the state.
From the state, the response was not good. At that point, the brother was the coach of Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtics, yeah.
And we know what that means. We know what the partnership with Boston Celtics
Would
could
have.
mean. You understand?
Yeah.
Boston Celtics is arguably the Real Madrid of football. And right now, the brother is the coach of Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just wasting. We're wasting such opportunities.
Well,
If the state could just harness that. Oh.
Okay, let me answer it because it sounds from too much negative for me.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there are no positives from the state regarding basketball at all? No contribution moving forward, because it's hard to look at it from that angle.
When there are national competitions to go for, fine, we have support.
Okay.
You understand? We have support
Okay.
of a sort.
So the problem is being proactive.
Yeah.
Towards the development of the
maybe
sport.
consistency as well in the
fine.
funding.
That's the word.
Yeah.
We need some form of consistency.
In
There has to be programs, because these kids will just stay redundant, doing nothing. There has to be consistency, because that's where you actually develop and get better.
All right, so Keribong, let me come to you. Basically, I know you're a basketball coach, basically, and there's a limit to what you can do as a coach. But I'd love to know, what are the things you're doing at least to help these talents, because it's a thing. It's a truth that Akwa Ibom has got basketball talents scattered across the state.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in that little cubicle to help talent in the states, at least to keep faith and keep hoping?
We train in terms of training.
Yeah.
Okay, we train. Basically, we are one of the hardest training sports in the state. There's so much I can do. Maybe go to local government areas, go to places, and one of my friends who was here on the show earlier, if your read is exceptional.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned Ifeok, I remember some time ago, community secondary school in Akwa Ibom were the best team at the Amelo basketball. And I'm beginning to ask how the state has utilized those talents who went to the national competition, and they were the very best in Nigeria. Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, we draw the call on today's edition of Sports Central. Mary's been a fascinating time.
Definitely.
And looking at
I really hope we'll talk a lot more with the Keribong, but I think the more we go in, the more disappointed it gets, as a matter of fact. And we hope that things change. Because at this point, I don't think we should just focus on football in the state. I have a few friends who play basketball, and I can tell you they're really good, really talented. All they need is sharpening, refining, some funding, some consistency, and they could get to the very top, the very echelon too. I hope that with this, the government is listening, individuals are listening. I hope they help.
More private sectors get to join it, just like the man he mentioned.
Come help us.
Get to join it. Let's put hands together, put hands on deck, and see how we can develop other sports aside from football. But here's where we draw the curtain in today's edition of Sports Central. It's had its own swings, from the good part, the interesting part, the disappointing part, and sadly it had to be the disappointing part at the end of it. Mr. Keribong, thank you for being a part of the show. Always a pleasure. We hope to have you next time on the show.
Absolutely.
Arizona, you're the man that always does the magic for me. And big thank you to Ifeok. I'm joining the show today to talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And Utuba David, on the scenes, to everyone who made this possible, thank you. And we say ciao ciao. What a wonderful week it's been. And we return even for the next week to talk about the very best of actions in the world of football and sports. Thank you for being a part of it. And we say ciao ciao.